This week we shoot the gift with a band who ain't apologising anymore. On October 29th, Bush released their fourth, I guess you'd call it original recording. It's called Golden State. Right from the outset, I can tell that you pretty much came off the back of your tour for the Science of Things and went straight in the studio, because it wasn't that long ago that we talked.
Yeah, we came off tour sort of like August, whatever, last year, and then had a little time off, wrote some songs, went in, rehearsed them, recorded them at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. It was literally that kind of boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, but you know, it kind of often is. It's our jobs as such. But you know what it is.
Yeah.
If you're not doing one thing, you're doing the other thing. You get a bit of holiday here and there, but you know, we've always worked quite hard.
Keep the momentum moving.
Yeah, sort of.
Most bands I talk to, they're like, what am I going to do with my downtime?
And also, if you leave it too long, then it takes it's almost 3 years between releasing albums.
Yeah.
You know, by the time you release one and record it, you know.
Yeah.
So
when we talked about around the release of the Science of Things, you were saying that there was a little bit of concern when you were recording the songs that there's a few Bush fans out there that probably feel that there was a little bit too much studio jiggery pokery that went into it. Do you know what I mean? How do you feel about that record now?
I feel really proud of it. I mean, I think that it's always good to be reaching out and trying to do stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes, inevitably when you're creating things out of nothing, sometimes they work better than others.
Yeah.
I think what was difficult was the tension of just the combination of just the programming side and the live stuff. It's difficult to know how to put it all together, because
it's a fine line between clever and stupid, as they say.
Between crap and good, yeah.
The Science of Things, I don't know, how do I put this? It was probably deemed by many people who wear suits and look at figures more than music to be a commercial failure off the back of the previous two records that you guys did.
it's difficult though. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that, and I think we've since then we've actually changed record company and manager, and not necessarily there to blame, but that's
that wasn't a knee-jerk reaction.
No, but I think there's lots of things. We got to a certain point, and I think we made an album. I don't know. Yeah, that sounds that sounds like exactly what I said, doesn't it? But I think there were other things. I think it wasn't necessarily.
You'd had problems with that label for years.
All that well. Yeah, I don't think I don't think it helps.
Seems to me, from what I've sort of listened to, sounds like it's a band playing again. That's what I felt when I heard it.
I think we did approach it more that sort of way. I think the last album, Science of Things, we approached. We did rehearse up in the studio, and then I think we changed a lot of things and finalised a lot of things in the studio. Do you know what I mean? And I think this time we sort of finalised most stuff in the rehearsals. So you actually had a sense of everybody knew their part, and everyone knew the direction of the song, the dynamics of the song.
Just don't get up your own when you're in the studio. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you're sitting there listening to it over and over again.
But it's really tempting, you want to get into it. And what I didn't want to do at that point was I wanted to kind of stretch it somewhere. I didn't want to do a straight ahead rock record, because I thought that it just wasn't kind of. You want to do what turns you on first,
sure.
And really you have to sort of damn the kind of commercial issues about it, just go for it.
Sure.
And especially since we've always looked at, like when we did the Razor Blade Suitcase, which we did with Steve Albini, which is a complete commercial suicide, and everyone was going, no, you can't work with him, you just had a really big record. But the point about it was just like, you just got to reach out and do things. If you see your career in terms of a long period of time, and some musicians do have like one album in their career, and that's everything that they're doing it for, and then other bands who want to be around longer and play live like us, you see it as a career path.
New album, right, Golden State. You spend a lot of time in rehearsal, and you obviously put a lot of work into getting the songs right before you went in with producer Dave Sardi, which is a really good choice for a producer. He's one of my favourite guys, behind the boards from the records I've heard he's worked on. Were you a little bit worried that perhaps you could over-rehearse the tunes, because what you've always achieved with, for me, being a fan of your music, is a very live, very raw kind of sound,
Well,
good answer.
Just to let you know that we didn't want to disappoint, we totally used most of the tracks when we got to like 3/4 through, we sort of wouldn't know where to go. So when we're in the studio, and everyone will kind of forget little bits here and there. So we were never that polished.
No, I was going to say,
worry about it.
Getting us to over-rehearse is like, you have to go through.
Right. Yeah. Good.
We're really good at finding excuses to leave early and get there late and everything like that. Not very, but we do go there, and what we did want to do was, we always fantasize about this much better when you do songs, you've been on tour, when you play to an audience, then you kind of gauge that. So we've still never managed that, but we tried to get to a point where we more or less played them top to bottom, but plenty of time. Certainly Dave and I shared many times where we'd mess up and to start the song again.
Which is, I guess, where Dave Sardi steps in to a certain extent and goes, stop pissing about and get on with the job.
Yeah, he was really good like that. We never, worked with Steve Albini. He's obviously a legend in his own studio, and so he should be. He's amazing, but his whole approach is to be really non-committal. So he's like, his production is rolling, do that, and he'll sit back and read a magazine, and then he'll tell you if he likes the take or not, you know. But with Sadi, got really involved. He would just come out and really kind of give you good pep talks, make you feel really good, and inspire you to just kind of, you know, I don't know. And he's massive as well. He's really tall, he's a really big guy. So like, you know,
lots of hugs.
Threat of violence is always looming.
You said before that, you know, the touring and the whole kind of the wheel didn't turn as well, as, you know, on the last record as you'd hoped, and things kind of fell out of sync. How are you going to stop that from happening this time? I mean, you know, obviously you guys are a hard-working band. You like to go on the road. You like to play your music.
Yeah. Well, I think that was a whole number of really boring reasons, but it just meant that we weren't properly on tour in America. We did a sort of different tour in America, so we haven't even played in LA for like 3 years, you know, which is for us is bizarre, you know. So and New York and stuff. So we'll
back to the Viper Room for you guys then.
Yeah, definitely. 3 nights though. We're just gonna with it. What we didn't have before was a manager who was American, who understood what isn't required, which is maybe why we felt that with our last manager we'd reached the end of sort of 7 years with him, whatever. So we just got, we have an American manager who possibly has a slightly better understanding of what's required in the current climate. And I think that's what happened, is that we suddenly found ourselves in kind of a new world and not really having the people around us that exactly knew how to deal with that. That's all it is. And so now hopefully we get a chance to be playing, doing what we love. But the other part of it is that in a career, you know, if you have a long career, you can't expect it to always be like this sort of like everything is like a hit and everything, you know, you have to sort of understand that it kind of goes in peaks and valleys or whatever. Yeah, so that's the way it goes. The important thing is that we're still together.
Sure.
You know, we just while we enjoy it and while the records are vital. I mean, you know, Kerrang saying this is our most important record ever. I just hope they keep it being most important. I mean, me as a songwriter, I still feel sort of there's so much to learn, and as a musician, you know, I still feel sort of crap some of the time. And as a singer, you know, sometimes I don't sing great, and I'm just trying to get better at that. So on a really, really simple level, we're just trying to get better at the job. And for that reason, it gives us power to move on. I think if ever the day that we come to where we go, we're great, I can't believe how good we are. It's just like, that's the least important record in the time when we really should like be told to
Yeah. F off then. I'm just kidding. I love Bush, but you know, some people tend to think I don't. And quite frankly, I like to encourage that kind of confusion. That way you're never quite sure whether I'm coming or going. Crazy. The new album's called Golden State. It's superb and it's on the shelf. Next